And welcome. This is Impact 2023, our continuing conversation where we talk about all different types of topics, where we talk about current events, where we talk about race, where we talk about religion, where we talk about anything that you may want to talk about. And as always, we want to remind people that this is a conversation. This is your opportunity to say how you feel, what you think, uh, and we will address it. And the method to do that is to type your questions and your comments into the comment section. So if you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, just go down to the comment section, type in however you feel, whatever you want to say, whatever question or discussion point that you have, and we will bring it up on the screen, just like it says, type questions here, and we will address those comments. This is a conversation, so it goes back and forth. So as the conversation goes, I need you to participate in order for it to be a conversation. You just don't want to hear me talk, or maybe you do. That's fine as well. For those of you who have been here before, or those of you who it's the first time, as always, we just hop right into the conversation. And so it is the 16th of May. It's a wonderful time of year. It's warm. The sun is out longer. You can be up early. You can stay up late, and the sun will be up. Cookout time, graduation time, Mother's Day just passed. It's a happy time of the year. And so I'm not going to try to depress anybody by having conversations about something that is less depressing. We have plenty of depressing stuff to talk about, but at the same time, we got to be real and we got to talk about what's going on. And one of the things that has recently come up and recently been going on is that I'll talk about me. One of the things that I've been trying to do is reach out to people that I've known in my life that I may not have talked to in a little while. So I went through my little cell phone and went out here and started contacting some people. And, just checking on them, seeing how you doing. Hey, what's going on? Oh, what's going on in your life? How you doing? Where you been? And, on a casual, just connection type situation. Just, hey, I haven't talked to them in a while. And then we do all of those little fake things where we tell people, man, we should get up. We should hang out. We should get together. That sort of thing. It's not relationship building, but it's keeping your relationships fresh. I know it's a lot easier for people out there nowadays because you're on social media, and so you can just go on Facebook and just, hit up all your social friends or just subscribe to their Instagram feed or whatever else. I'm not talking intelligently about those situations because I don't know, but it's a lot easier to do that. And this is an important point, an important faction. Important factor in people's lives. You want to make sure you do those connections. And one of the reasons I think that it's important to be connected both ways is one, if you ever need someone to talk to, the more people that you have in your life, the more opportunity you may have to talk to somebody about certain things. It's easier to talk to me for a lot of my friends because I'm not talking to you every day. I don't really know what's going on with your business, and it may be easier to talk to me versus somebody that you see all the time who will be in your face judging you. So here's why I'm talking about this. What recently happened, for those of you who kind of keep up with sports or keep up with social media, there's a basketball player. His name is Ja Morant. And he recently got in trouble for flashing a gun on IG Live, Instagram Live. For those of you who don't know, like me, what Instagram Live is, it is Instagram, but it is a feature where if you're out and about, you can cut on Instagram and it shows in real time live what you're doing. And it shows it to the people that you choose to be on your Instagram Live. And so in his particular situation, this is a guy who's famous, has thousands of followers, but it really was only for about 100 and some people on his Instagram Live that were supposed to see what he was doing. And he flashed the gun. Now, what does flashing a gun mean? Just having a gun on your person. He was in a club and he just grabbed the gun. He's like, hey, I got a gun. Blah, blah, blah. Not a big deal for most people. Where he lives, actually, it's legal to carry firearms around and things like that. But for him in particular, he had gotten in trouble previously, and now he's in big trouble. Don't need to go into the details. That's not what's important. What's important is one of the reasons he is in trouble that people keep saying is because he has a bad group of friends. He has a bad group of peers. He has people who are not going to have his best interests at heart. They're around him because he has money, he has fame, He has power. And so they hang around him and they're a bunch of yes people. And they say yes to everything that's going on. Let's make the connection. So on the one hand, I'm talking about the fact that I reached out to all of these friends. On the other hand, we're talking about a wealthy and famous person who has a bunch of friends who are keeping bad company. Responsibility of me, responsibility of you, responsibility of all of us. If you think that you are an okay person, not that you think that you're great, somebody of some high character, but if you think that you're an okay person, like I think that I'm okay, I do bad stuff, I do good stuff. I feel like I may do a little bit more good than bad. So if you think that you're okay, I think that it is the responsibility of those of us who are okay to make sure that we stay in contact with those that we care about, because those that we care about may need a little bit of input from us. And so in this situation where you have a guy like John Morant, who is out here and they say you have a bad set of friends, and you don't have anybody to tell you, hey, no, stop, don't. And again, I don't know whether or not that's his situation or not. But I think it's a responsibility of all of us to participate in our friends' lives and be able to be there and be around so that if we need to say, one, do you need to talk? Or no, stop, don't. I think it is our responsibility to say no, stop, and don't. I think it's our responsibility to, as you say, your brother's keeper and things like that, is to yes, be that person and to actively be that person, not to be, oh, I'm always trying to tell people what to do and get in other people's business, but to be there, to be able to be like, I don't think it's fair. I don't think that's a good look. I don't think that's something that you need to do. And you can't say that in a vacuum. You can't just pop up one day and say that. You have to actively be a part of people's lives in order to say that. And so for me, as I went out here and I'm making sure that I make the connections with the people that I have cared about over the years, have been friends to, been family to, I want to also be there to make those connections that if they need me, and that means in any kind of capacity, if they need me for money, because that's always the first thing people think about. If they need me for time, they need me, you're moving and you need an extra hand, I'm there. But also in those no stop don't moments, in those moments where you really need somebody to talk to and lend your ear. And so I think it's easy for us to get siloed into our own little areas. It's easy for us to be by ourselves. It's easy not to talk to anybody. I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy for me. I'll sit here and I got my phone. I'm like, oh, I'm on my phone. And it's easy for me to just put that thing away. Don't look at it. Don't pick up no calls. It can vibrate, ring, whatever. It's easy for me to just check out and leave people alone. It's hard to be connected and stay connected. And I think that is something that I think we need to do, especially in society that we have now where people are so connected, but at the same time disconnected. You hear folk talk about all the time that they feel alone. And you're like, well, how are they alone? They got all these people around them. You got social media, you got this and that, but you feel so alone because you really don't have true connections and people talking to one another. And I think it's so. Here's what the point of this is, and especially for those of us who are in church. I think that those of us who are in church have some valuable items to give out. We got some valuable words to say, and we have to, I want to say, emulate what we see and what we hear about on Sundays, Thursdays, Wednesdays, whatever days, every day that you're opening up the Bible. We have to emulate what we've seen. And what we see, and I know it was a different time back then, but what we see is people who are being active in not only their own lives, but in other people's lives. And as Christian individuals, I think our responsibility is to be active in other people's lives. And it is tiring. And you can give me the comment if you want. It is hard to be active and remember to participate with other folks. I mean, you spend your whole day. If you work, you don't went to work all day. You get home and you're just like, man, now I need to call so and so and check on them, or now I need to send out a text to so and so and check on them, or stop by what's his name house and do this and do that. But I think that that's a responsibility that we have in order to take care of one another. Um, we talk about being mentally fatigued and our mental health and the things like that, but those are a part of it. Those are a part of making sure that other people's mental health are important. We've talked about all the time checking on other folk and doing things, being responsible. But it is hard. It is significantly hard for me. It's hard, and I'm not the most extroverted person. Like, I'm not out here just all in people's faces like but we all have to do it. And so for somebody who's not, a super people person, it's super hard, but it's important. It is important to stay in contact with one another. It is important to reach out to folks. We look at the church and we look at the roles and responsibilities where we, let's go old school. And we used to have the list of people in the bulletin, or they used to make the announcements and they talk about the sick and the shut in and the people who are going out to visit them. Well, that's what we need to do. And if we're not doing it as churches anymore in the same sense where we have the list of people who are sick and shut in, we need to make sure that we do that as individuals. Like, we have a responsibility. And one of the first places you can start is with your family. If there's anybody that we haven't talked to in a while, we just check on them. Just see what's up. Don't check on them and be like, is anything wrong? But just check on them. Because again, as Christians, what we have is a valuable words, valuable experiences, valuable teachings that, when needed, we can offer up. And so we can't be there, we can't be present in other people's lives if we're not present in other people's lives. And so it's a burden. It is a responsibility. But I think it's one that we've all taken on. If we say that we love God, which means we have to love each other. And if y'all were, anybody out there was here on Sunday or has tuned into us on Sunday, it said that we need to keep God. We know that we love God by keeping His commands. And so if we love God, we keep His commands. And His command is to love one another as we love ourselves. And so we have to go out here and we have to actively love other people. And again, I keep referencing this because it is a burden. It is tiresome sometimes. This is one of those burdens of love. I think that's the way you say it. But I think it's a responsibility that we have. And so when you're looking at people, sometimes like this famous person like Ja Morant, I think the burden of love is for those people who are truly in a good place and got good advice. I think their burden of love is to call and check on him and make sure that they give their good either advice, energy. That's not usually something that I say. They can give their good energy or give whatever they have to give, but stay attached to people and stay in people's lives, and that you're order to give what you need to give and offer. It's funny. So here's another part of what happened to me in my experience is that when we're starting to contact people all the time, you say stuff like, "Man, I haven't talked to you in a while. I'll do a little bit better with that." And then they remind you that's a two-way street. They're like, "Oh, it's a two-way street. I can't blame you for not contacting me because I didn't contact you." And that is so true, but yet it doesn't matter. I got a lot of folk, a lot is not the right word. I have folk that it's a one-way street. I got family members. It is a one-way street. If I don't call you, you will not call me. When I call you, it's all good. You're excited, like, "Oh my goodness, hey." But if I don't call you, if I don't talk to you, it's not going to happen. And the common thing is, well, it's a two-way street. If I'm always putting out, effort and you're not putting it back in the effort, then I can just walk away. That is true for the world, but that's not true for us. And if you disagree, you can let me know. But that's not true for us. I think sometimes we walk down some one-way streets, and these are just one-way relationships. We are we control the whole relationship. If we want to reach out, then the relationship will be great and it'll continue on. If we want to stop reaching out, then it'll fizzle out and there won't be anything left. We control the whole entire relationship. And as unfair as that is, as ridiculous as that may sound, that's the way that it is But that's what we signed up for when we decided that we were going to follow the commands, when we decided that we were going to love our neighbors. And so I think that that's the burden that we have. Why is that a current event? Why is that a Impact 2023 related topic? It is because that's what's currently going on, I think, in our society right now with a bunch of different people in a bunch of different places. There are a lot of folk who don't have the relationships with people that they may need to have relationships with. And I think it's because we are not staying connected with the folk that we need to stay connected with. We are realizing that it's a two-way street, and we're not signing up for the fact that sometimes we're going to have to be on both sides of the street, or it's going to be a one-way street, but we're going to keep that relationship going. I'm not going it's like that song that said, you gonna love me. I can't remember who sung it, but I'm not gonna let you, I'm not gonna let you go. It's the basis of the song is you gonna walk away. I'm not letting you walk away. I'm not letting you get up out of here. And I think that's what we have to do sometimes. I'm not letting you get away. I'm always gonna be there reaching out. I'm always gonna be there trying to help out. I'm always gonna be there trying to assist, because that's what I've been tasked to do. And so again, just to circle back, when you have people out here maybe doing great, we reach out, we stay connected. We have people out here struggling, we reach out, and we stay connected, because our job, I think our job as Christians, I think our job as people who want to be good to one another is to be there when we're needed. If we're going to be the light, we need to be a light and just shine over and on people all the time. If you're trying to walk in the darkness, well, you want to run, because I'm going to be right there behind you, always coming with that light. And so, again, I encourage everyone out here, and that's the task, and that's the challenge. I encourage everyone out here. I challenge everyone out here to be that person, to be that person who reaches out, to be that person who keeps connections going, to be that person who stays connected to as much people as possible, so that if and when they need you, if and when they need to see Christ, if and when they need good advice, if and when they need a Christian right there at that moment, that you can be there. And the only way we can be there is by actively being a part of people's lives. And that is, that's the work and the burden that we have to do. If you've been here a bunch of times and have watched this over and over again, you'll know that we've had a similar conversation before about this burden and this responsibility. Talking more about it on the mental health situation inside, but I think right now it is a bunch of people, again, who are going through challenging times and bad paths and making bad decisions, or even making good decisions. They just need that helping hand, and that's who we're supposed to be. Comment: is it possible that some people are afraid if I open up to others, they may discover we're not all we claim to be, or want others to think we are? Absolutely. Absolutely. I do think that that's a fear of a lot of people. People want to just keep to themselves. You don't want to let people know that you're not perfect and you got problems and you got issues. I want to keep all my stuff together. For some strange reason, I think that all of us, we want everybody to know all the good stuff that's going on. But yeah, at the same time, we don't want nobody to know all the bad stuff that's going on. And so, in order to just to make sure people don't know all the bad stuff, we don't talk about it at all. We be private, we be secretive. You don't really want to let people know what's going on. And we even teach that to one another. Don't let people know what you got going on. Okay, don't let them know what's going on. You don't want other people to discover that you're not all that you are. Okay, but you still need to be there, or figure out a way to be there. Yes, they may discover that you're not, gotten all together. You're not, this big time great person that you try to put on and say that you are, or you try to have this type of air about you. They may see your flaws, but again, that's you just got to do it. And if you don't want to show all your information and show all your flaws, you can still show up and try not to show who you really are. But you got to do whatever you got to do, but you need to show up. But yeah, that is that is something that people don't want to show people who they really are, or you don't want people to see that you're flawed. The fact of the matter is, they probably know anyway. People know. We always be trying to hide stuff, and everybody know anyway. Well, ain't nobody know that I was doing such and such. We all knew. It's funny. I know people who they always trying to hide stuff. You got people who smoke, whether it be cigarettes or some other thing, and they swear that everybody don't know. Oh yeah, because I put on the perfume and I chew the gum, or I spray my car, or I do this, or I roll down the windows, or only everybody know. You ain't not fooling nobody. And I think that's what's going on. I'm gonna go back to this comment one more time. That people are afraid if you open up, the others may discover that we're not all we claim to be. Half the time, people already know. And so, come on. Now, you may have some secret like, well, I ain't want nobody to know I robbed a bank back in the day. All right, well, you ain't got to do that. They may find that out, but at the end of the day, if they do, that's a part of your success story. What you've done in the dark can come to the light, as they say. But whatever your fear is, and whatever my fear, like me, the burden is I'm really not that much of a social person when it comes to staying in contact with people and things like that. That's what I don't like. That's a burden for me. I know this is my responsibility, so I got to do it anyway. If you're sitting back here and you're saying, I don't want people to see my dirty laundry, well, that's your burden. That's your responsibility. You got to do it anyway. All of us have things and reasons for why we don't want to do the things that we're supposed to do. And unfortunately, those reasons are painful or hard or whatever for us, but we got to step up and do it anyway. And right now, especially when we're talking about a certain generation, we're talking about a certain group of people. They're saying, and again, you've heard me say this before, and I'm going to say it again. I'll continue to say it. According to the reports, this generation, this younger generation of people, we're talking about people in their teens, their 20s, and their 30s, we're looking at a group of folk who they say are the most depressed that they've seen, that they have more mental health issues than any generation before, that they are less happy. And even though they have more stuff, more opportunities, more technology, they're less happy. And for whatever reason, this less happiness has caused a lot of depression, has caused a lot of suicide rates to increase, has caused a lot of bad things to happen. And so if we, especially those of us who are older, if we have made it so far, our responsibility is to try to stay connected to those who are younger, or even stay connected to one another, to make sure that if we know that this is a challenging time in history for a lot of people's mental health and a lot of people's headspace, then we need to stay connected and have a responsibility to understand that we need to make sure that we take care of one another. Just remind ourselves of that. If this is where we are in history, we have to step up and give whatever we need. We were in the Great Depression and people were food insecure, then our responsibility would be to step it up and make sure that we provided food and everything for one another. If we're in a responsibility now where it's mental health insecure, then we need to make sure that we step up and we guide each other in our mental health. We talked about this because of the fact that, COVID happened and now we're social distancing and now most of the people are like we're doing right now over the internet or over social media. We still got to check on people. We still got to get it together. It is important and imperative that we take care of one another. And if we're going to call ourselves Christians, if we're going to love one another, we have to do it, not necessarily in person, but we have to do it, one-on-one. It can't be a situation of where I'm going to hit you up every once in a while and just let you be out there. We got to take care of one another. And so we got to communicate. All right. That was, that was straight to the point. Again, that is a current event issue because you can look at story after story and time after time, issue after issue. And a lot of them is, or a lot of them are, where your friends at, where your advice coming from. And that is what we're talking about here. We need to be friends to everybody and advice to everybody and family to everybody and make sure that we stay connected. and that is a burden and a responsibility. All right. Well, as always, want to be a reminder that on Thursdays, same place, we have Thursday Thirst. We have it on Facebook and we have it on YouTube. Please feel free to join us. It's at 7 o'clock. On Sundays at 10, and this is all Eastern time. On Facebook and YouTube, we have worship. Please join us. And if you want, and if you're And we have one more comment. We live in a society where success is the ideal. However, many of us do not understand what it truly means to be successful. To overcome shortcomings, that is success. For many in life, their only challenge is to remain successful. Yeah, that's one. That's one that I think is weird. I think we just, to me, we probably should stop using successful and be like happy. And not that you have to be happy all the time, but just be happy. It was a funny quote that I heard another famous person, Nick Cannon. If you ever, we were talking about him just a little while ago. Talking about he's the guy. He's on TV all the time. He has all of these kids, and he had a quote that said that he made $100 million every year. But the quote was not that he made $100 million every year. He said he felt he had to make $100 million each year. Now that's a problem, I think, that you feel that you have to make this much money. So he works a ridiculous amount of jobs, a ridiculous schedule, has almost died, has gotten physically ill because of overexertion and things like that. Because you feel like you got to be successful. And for those of you out here where you feel like you have to be successful, I think you should feel like you need to be happy. You need to be able to enjoy life. You need to be able to enjoy the moments that you have. So success should not be as important as happiness. And if your happiness is success, okay, well, you're in a space that I can't really talk to. But I understand that the number one thing that people want to see, and we all know it. When you're looking online and you're seeing all these people, and you're like, oh, look at them. They jet skiing out here in this place. So they look this and they always want to look happy, because that's truly what we all chasing. And we think it's success, we think it's money, we think it's this, and we think it's that. At the end of the day, it's happiness. And that's what you need to find. And happiness has nothing to do with the amount of jobs that you have, whether or not you have $100 million or you have $100,000, or where you don't have a dollar to your name. You got to figure out where and how to be happy. And because that's what we've seen, is that there are a bunch of people out here who are ending their lives, and they've had way more than I have, way more than you may have, and they're just not happy. And so, as the comment says, people think, success is the ideal, when truthfully, you just need to be happy with who you are and the skin that you're in. And people don't know that sometimes because they don't have their friends and their family to talk to and to remind them to just be happy. All right, we've reached our time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for everyone that's joined us. Please continue to join us again. We will be here next Tuesday, 8 o'clock, same time, same place with the YouTube and the Facebook. And again, have a good one and reach out to somebody. All right.